So this is me at 21 years old. I'm in Ensenada, Mexico, dancing with an abuela under the influence of substantial amounts of alcohol, just partying, not knowing what I want to do with my life, very insecure, lacking confidence, and wondering what I'm gonna do. And here is me at 33 years old in the Virgin Islands on a boat with my company, celebrating our President's Club trip, thriving and looking back now, having built the dream life that I always envisioned when I was younger. And it has been a wild ride to get here. I have made so many f***ups and it's been so turbulent. So I wanted to make a video to pass along some of the wisdom I wish I could tell myself if I could go back in time and talk to that 20-year-old kid. So number one is stop trying to impress people. Instead, become someone impressive. Build a character that you admire. Stop chasing validation from your heroes. Instead, go build something epic and your heroes will actually come to you. Stop thirsting for validation and acceptance and just work on bettering yourself and becoming someone that you're proud of, and everything naturally unfolds from there. Number two is put your purpose first. You're going to have endless temptations. There's endless distractions to take your eye off the ball. You have to go all in on yourself and personal growth. Cultivate valuable skill sets, elite habits, and really build a character that sets you up for success in this world. Ditch the parties, ditch the meaningless hangouts, have a little bit of fun, but keep your eye on the ball, have a North Star and a vision that you're pursuing. The more that you can say no to now, the more you can say yes to later. Number three is curate your circle carefully. You end up becoming the people you hang out with the most. You have mirror neurons in your brain, so you automatically mirror the people you spend the most time with. So it's so important that you carefully curate that circle of friends. Find people that remind you more of the future that you want to create than the past that you've had. Just because they were in your past doesn't mean they belong in your future. Most of my friends and myself were partying 5 nights a week, and I made a rule with myself at one point. I said, don't let substances substitute substance. Actually hang out with people with real substance that you enjoy being with when you're sober, that are furthering your growth, not people that you can only enjoy each other's company when you're doing substances. If you're going out to the clubs and you're partying together and your friendship is built on substances, there's no real substance there. So find people that actually have similar interests, that are on a similar trajectory as you, that make you better and inspire you to see greater possibilities. Number four, get good at being alone. This is so important. We always have FOMO when we're younger. We want to be a part of all the parties, all the get-togethers. You have to get good at being alone, because when you are alone, that is your time to focus, to learn, and to grow. And if you have to be at all the parties, all the get-togethers, and you're constantly having FOMO, you don't have the time to actually develop yourself. You're like a photograph in a dark room. You take the photograph, you put it in the dark room, you let it develop, and it reemerge into the light, and you have a fully fledged photograph. You work the same way. You have to go into the dark room, into your room where you're working 6, 7, 8 hours a day, doing personal growth, focusing on acquiring skill sets. And that time is vital to help you get in touch with who you are and develop yourself into the type of person that can create the future that you want. It's so important because most people don't want to be alone because they think they'll be lonely. But being alone does not make you lonely. You're actually lonelier if you need the company of people all the time. I used to want to be at every single party. I had to be talking to people 24/7. I had constant FOMO, and then I turned that FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out. I got to make choices that are aligned with who I wanted to be because I was comfortable being alone and I enjoyed my own company. The lonelier people are actually the ones that are always out at all the parties because they can't be alone. You have to get good at being alone and build a relationship with yourself. Number five, outwork your insecurities. We all have self-doubt. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have self-sabotaging thoughts. You have to outwork them. You have to develop your skill sets to a level where you are extremely competent at whatever you're doing. And that competence breeds confidence. So don't let your insecurities stop you from going after your dreams. You simply have to get 1,000 more reps and outwork those insecurities until you become so competent that you can produce undeniable evidence that you are who you think you can be. Number 6, this was a hard one for me, but be grateful for where you are now. There is no goal that you will ever accomplish that will bring you lasting fulfillment and happiness. The goalposts will always move, and there will always be somewhere else that you want to get to. But if you're not careful, you'll live your entire life inside of lack, always lacking something and trying to get somewhere other than where you are. And no matter how much money you have, no matter how much success you have, that is going to create a lot of unhappiness and you won't be able to live a wealthy life. And so be grateful for where you are right now. Take inventory of all your blessings. If you can't be grateful with $100,000, you're not going to be grateful with $10 million. It's an internal game. Don't live your life in a state of lack, waiting to allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to be happy now. And those feelings of happiness and joy will actually create more success. The goalpost will always move. There's always going to be somewhere to get to. And accomplishments are very short-lived. You might be excited for 10, 20 minutes, maybe a few days after an accomplishment, but again, the goalpost moves. So allow yourself to be happy now. Be grateful for what you have now. Keep striving, keep reaching, keep seeking expansion, but don't do it from a place of lack, like you need to get somewhere in order to be happy. Decide to be happy now and then create your life from abundance and wholeness. Number 7 is write a book that you would want to read. Live an interesting life. Live the life that you want to live, not the life that other people want you to live. There's going to be a lot of opinions about how you should live your life. You have to ignore all of them. Listen to that inner voice. There is a voice in your head telling you who you want to become, telling you what kind of life that you're capable of living. You have to honor that. I was 24, and at the peak of my career, I decided to leave corporate America and travel to 25 countries and become a yoga teacher in India, rode motorcycles in Vietnam, taught English in Ghana and Kenya, Cambodia. I wrote a story that I was proud of, and that was the first moment I picked up the pen and actually wrote my story. And that was a liberating moment that I hope everyone gets to find, because at some point you have to stop listening to what other people think you should do. There's a lot of pressure to live up to the expectations of your parents, to your friends, to your bosses, but you have to know what you want and be uncompromising in going after it. At the end of your life, you have to actually pick up your own book and say, man, this is a great story. The worst thing you can do is to live a boring life because you wanted to play it safe or live up to other people's expectations. So honor that voice in your head, write a book that you would want to read. Number 8 is triple down on habits. Habits are so important. You create your habits, and your habits create your life. If you want to master life, you have to master a single day. And inside of that day, you have to cultivate the habits that you want to compound over time to create that life you want. So by cultivating elite habits, you become a world-class individual that can accomplish any goal. So really triple down on your habits. You have to ask yourself, if I did everything that I'm doing this week for the rest of my life, would that take me to where I want to go? Now, if you're drinking 3 nights this week and you were to do that every week for the rest of your life, chances are that would not be where you wanted to go. So it might be good to not do that this week. So you want to think about, how am I curating my time and how I operate inside of that time, and where is that going to take me over a compounded period of time? So for me, the habits that really set me apart, that set me on a very different trajectory than I was on, is 1, I eliminated vices. So I took out 90+% of drinking. Number 2 is I started going to bed at the same time so I could wake up rested. I would wake up and meditate every day for 30 to 60 minutes and imagine my ideal future and start feeling grateful for that future in advance so I could program my mind and my body into the future that I wanted. I would read 30 to 60 minutes a day so I could fill my brain with new knowledge so I could execute on new information and produce better results. I would go to the gym 6 days a week, cultivate a strong body, be healthy mentally and physically, and I would constantly be putting myself out there and going to events and seeking out knowledge and mentors. There's so many different habits here, but the main thing is that you're consciously curating your list of habits. If you master your habits, you will master your life. So cut out all the vices, remove those energy leaks that are stealing your power, that are causing you to have a worse self-image of yourself, and install good habits that are helping you be more healthy, more focused, and helping you create progress against your meaningful goals. Number 9, realize this: you are the richest you'll ever be right now. Youth is the ultimate wealth. You have freedom, you have time, and you have the least amount of responsibility that you're ever going to have in your life. You have all the time in the world to focus on building a better you. So be grateful for that wealth. There are 60-year-old billionaires that would give every penny they have to be back in your shoes in your 20s right now. And that is a powerful concept to understand. You have time and you have freedom. So don't waste it. Put that energy into creating the best you possible so that you can create the life that you desire and deserve. Number 10 is play your own game. The biggest failure is winning at somebody else's game that you didn't even want to play. You just got sucked into it. Success is subjective. Like, you have to define it for yourself. You have to define, what does a successful life look like for me? The luxury life is so overrated. Status, the fame, the symbols, all that is hard to attain, but just because it's hard to attain doesn't inherently make it valuable, and we conflate those two. So these things are fun to enjoy, they're hard to attain, people give you a lot of validation and recognition for having them, but they don't actually fill you up, they're not actually valuable. Deep human relationships, making progress on your important goals, creating an impact in the world, those things actually make you come alive and create a rich, fulfilling life. So keep your eye on the prize and don't be seduced by society into thinking you need all of these things to be happy. A lot of them are not what they're cracked up to be. So just remember this, the journey is way more important than the destination, and the company that you travel with is way more important than the journey. So those are some pieces of advice that I wish I had when I was in my 20s. And I believe if you apply these, you can shortcut a lot of bullshit and not have to go through so much pain and actually start living the life you were meant to live now.